Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the last exciting installment in the Roguedeckbuilder set review for M15. Back again with Kevin Grimmin and Cory Huber, a non-stop thrill ride into the soul of new Phyrexia. A 6/6 for 6 with Trample, and 2 abilities. What do you think of these abilities, Kevin? Go!
It's a pretty good intro. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, I gotta do like the movie trailers, like, coming this fall to roguedeckbuilder.com. Something you won't believe. That's gonna be great. So new Phyrexia, 6/6 for 6. This is like the... I said something else was the #1 first pick of the entire draft, but I think this is actually the #1 first pick of the entire format for drafting. Just because it goes in every single deck. It's so safe and so powerful. So 6/6 for 6 trample, and then permanents you control gain indestructible at the end of turn. Boom. Like, what more do you want from something in limited? That's pretty much all you need.
Give your Hornet's Nest indestructible.
That's right. That's crazy. But it's on board, but it's still crazy. Oh man, like that'd be so good. Jeez. I love this card. I think it's good. I don't have any intentions to use it in any constructed format, but in limited it's just huge.
Yeah, people have talked about Commander. This card will be very popular.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm sure that there's an important... The fact that it's an artifact is very important for Commander. So you can find it with all of your artifact tutors, but we'll see.
And the artifact specific cards or commanders.
Yep.
I know at my local game store there's plenty of those. That was one of the event decks, so anything, or not event decks, one of the commander decks.
Absolutely.
Was an artifact guy, so the Esper one. And yeah.
Cool.
So it's a good card. 6/6 trample for 6. No, it kind of reminds me of Wormcoil Engine. Of course, you don't. It really reminds me of Wormcoil Engine because you get some sort of effect after it dies.
Yes. Not quite the same bomminess as Wormcoil Engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, it's got evasion. It's got more evasion than Wormcoil Engine had, so that's nice.
Did Wormcoil not have death? It had
death touch lifelink, but it didn't have any trample. So in a way, this is a better creature. Just like in a way, Elvish Mystic is a better creature than Wormcoil Engine. But let's move on to some of the even more exciting stuff in the Chain Veil.
Yep, this is the combo piece to the Magic Christmas Land combo of Ralzeric and Nisa.
Yep, this is going in my Chromat Super Friends deck instantly. It's a 4-mana artifact. At the beginning of your end step, if you don't activate a loyalty ability of a planeswalker this turn, you lose 2 life. So it has a downside, but for 4 mana and a tap, you can activate one of its loyalty abilities, though none of its loyalty abilities have been activated this turn. So you just get another +1, another -2. You get to do exactly what you want to do with your planeswalker, which is use them twice per turn. So I don't know. Does it have any applications outside of Commander other than like a standard janky combo?
Yeah, I think it's... People might try to play it in like a... Right now there's a Bant Super Friends deck that is quite popular with Kiora, Elspeth, and makes Elspeth a lot quicker to get up to her ultimate to just win the game.
Yep, that's for sure. But
I don't know if you want it. It's a whole card. It's a whole 4 to cast it, a 4 to activate it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an 8-mana sorcery. So I don't know. It seems like a very interesting and fun card to play with. Would you play it? Would you, if you knowing that there's 6 planeswalkers in this set, if you open this as your first pack, pick 1 mythic, would you take it?
Well, I would for the money reasons. A free draft after that, sure.
Okay, sure. For money reasons, but if you were intending to win the draft, I don't think I'd take it.
Absolutely not. I'd let this guy pass.
100%. That said, if you've got even 1 planeswalker in your deck, is it worth it at that point? Or is this a constructed only card?
It's so hard. If maybe if I had Hoarding Dragon and a Planeswalker, or is there another tutor that gets an artifact? A way to go through my deck quite
I think
easily?
there are a couple of ways in the set. I think I vaguely remember there being a blue card that does it, and then maybe Hoarding Dragon does it for sure. So if you've got a tutor, you've got a Planeswalker, and you've got this thing, then yes, I guess.
You realize that Stoneforge Mystic can grab this guy and flash it in and make Jace even that much more ridiculous in Legacy. So I could see them possibly wanting this in Legacy. Usually what they go grab is Batter Skull.
Well, watch.
But Jace usually is in a lot of the decks that Stoneforge Mystic is in.
Okay. Oh, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
It's not equipment. It's not equipment. What am I smoking?
It just looks like an equipment.
Yeah, it's equipment for Planeswalkers.
Yeah, it is.
Almost-ish.
So Perilous Vaults. This is what, the board wipe for the set? Yeah, 4 mana for the artifact, and then 5 mana. Exile Perilous Vault. Exile non-land permanents. The word exile is very important on this card.
Yep.
So, yes, it's very important that you exile on non-land permanents, but it is still effectively a 9 mana board wipe.
Tron might want it. I think Tron already uses 4 Oblivion Stones.
Yeah. So maybe this is better for them. But
no, Oblivion Stones is by far better.
Is it? Do they actually get time to use the counters on things that they want?
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's Tron generates insane mana.
Well, that's why they call it the Tron. They just turned it on.
So, yep, they do use 4 of them, and some of these are using 2 of all is dust, so I could definitely see the argument for going 4 Oblivion Stones and then 2 more of these.
Yep. I see that working.
It's just 1 more mana, and that's not hard for Tron whatsoever.
No, it's not at all.
Because it's the exact same, right? Yep, 3 and 5 versus 4 and 5, and Oblivion Stone does have that ability to put a fate counter on something.
Yep.
Non-land permanent.
I haven't had them have time to do that, but I play a pretty narrow number of modern decks, so.
I guess also destroy versus exile.
Yeah, it's a very important keyword.
Yep, Oblivion Stone is only destroy.
Yep.
So a lot of times the hexproof decks, hexproof really beat up on Tron.
Yeah, because that gets rid of the totem armor. Do they use totem armor?
Yeah, I think just if you destroy totem armor, I'm not sure on this, but I think if you destroy the totem armor at the same time you destroy the creature, it still triggers.
But is it when it dies or when it leaves the battlefield? Because if it's just exile, it doesn't die.
Exile would just totem armor wouldn't even care, like, because it says if it would be destroyed, destroy the armor instead.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you can still make them sacrifice it. Like, that's one of the best ways to get around hexproof right now in modern is like Celestial Flare. I've got Celestial Flares in my sideboard for Soul Sisters just because that is a difficult matchup.
Yep.
So I could see them. I could actually see Tron wanting this over Oblivion Stone, but a lot of times they do put fake counters on certain things.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see how that all.
Because late game too, like a lot of times what's happening is you have to use Karn very defensively when you first put him out, and then the next turn you'll have enough mana to cast Oblivion Stone, put a fake counter on him, and then blow it the following turn if you need to, and then you still have a Karn.
Yeah. Or
a Wormcoil Engine, or whatever you need.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Actually, now that you mentioned Wormcoil Engine, this is a Nomba with Wormcoil Engine where the Oblivion Stone just leaves you with 2 3/3s, right?
Yeah. So I'm sure that they actually use Wormcoil Engine and then Oblivion Stone to get 3. Yeah. So I guess there's that little interaction that Tron probably prefers Oblivion Stone for destroying its own Wormcoil.
Yeah. Okay. So there may be fringe cases
really
where
hard
you
to
want this
recover.
on the sideboard. It's probably a meta call more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, wicked. Well, let's leave that be for now and go on to Haunted Plate Mail. This is a card that I really liked in, what was it, M14 it came out in last time?
Yep.
I really like playing this one. This is a very solid first pick card.
Yep.
I toyed with it in like blue-white control shells and things like that. It never really quite made the cut just because the 4 mana is pretty steep when you could be casting a Jace. But it's a very good card in Limited, and depending on what you see after rotation, it might be worth slamming into a standard deck from time to time. I'm not sure if there's any EDH decks that use this equipment in particular, but the fact that it is an equipment means, and it's a creature, means that it might just see some play in some fringe stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. Will Forge Golem, this is just filler, right? That's the Convoke artifact creature.
Yeah, it's still pretty steep even with Convoke.
Yeah, it's just filler. I'm happy Tormod's Crypt is back. I love this card. This is my preferred way to get rid of a graveyard, I think. In all of the ways to get it, like Lane Line, I guess, is pretty damn good. But if you need to get rid of a whole graveyard, I prefer this one just because it leaves you with your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's free. So that's pretty awesome too. It can be a surprise. Sacred Armory is just a combat trick on a stick. Target creature gets +1/+1 until turn.
It's not bad though.
No, it's reasonably reasonably costed for sure. So I don't know. That seems like a mid pick to me.
Yep. It depends on what other cards.
Yeah, it
could pack 2,
state.
pack 3 if it starts to build. This isn't a dead card in really any deck that you play though, but it really shines in again the blue-red.
Yeah.
You want artifacts to give you some other purpose. You can shrapnel blast it later on or whatever.
100%.
You turn it into a 5/5. It can pump itself.
Yes.
So.
That's actually awesome. So Tyrant's Machine.
So good.
So good. It's just removal. Like once you've got excess mana, it's just a removal spell. Really, it just keeps something locked down. Either on if you're being attacking, you can use it to attack, or you can just keep something from hitting you. So
4 is a little steep, but still limited. This is something that turns games around.
It's going to change the board state, and again, it's going to be something that you can use to shrapnel blast if you don't require it anymore.
Yep. A thing in limited happens all the time is on their attack step, you tap down their creature, and then this untaps, and then you tap down their blocker. So you get 2 creatures tapped down for you to swing in for lethal.
100%. Yeah, this is that's a good one. It's you'll be able to get it if you want it. It's common, so that's important. So what's Profane Memento do? I haven't read this one yet. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you gain 1 life.
I like it.
Really? Yeah.
I like it.
I like it. Do I like it in non-constructed formats? I'm not sure.
Yeah, in non-constructed, I don't think you could really justify playing it. It's going to give you 2 little life. You could probably expect 3 or 4 life per game, 3, 4, 5 maybe. I'm not sure.
I think you'd prefer one of the wands to this in limited.
Yeah, and again, we've already established that life gain in limited format usually isn't very good unless you're going against hyper aggressive decks.
Yeah,
because it's not going to 100% change the outcome of a game. It just says, okay, we're going to make you take another turn to kill me.
Yeah,
delaying the inevitable.
What if you get like the Johnny Sunstrider? Is that what it's called? The get +1/+1 counter every time you gain life.
Yeah, Johnny's Pridemate.
Pridemate, yes.
Yep, it's okay with that. It's again though, it's so situational, especially when you're in white. You wouldn't have a lot of ways to really kill your opponent's creatures.
Yeah.
Besides them just having to block or you blocking, but where I like this card is Constructed Mill. I've already seen the power of Crypt Incursion.
Oh yeah, it's just graveyard. It's from anywhere. So yeah, that's actually really good.
The biggest difference between this and Crypt Incursion is you drop this first turn. In Mill, you usually don't have a first turn play unless you have Thoughtseize.
Yep.
And this actually helps you gain some life back from like a Thoughtseize. So I've already got a brew. Again, this was in my top 10.
Okay.
And I've got a whole brew around it. We got another key card for Mill in the form of Mind Sculpt coming back. So now I have Breaking and Entering with 8 cards and Mind Sculpt for 7. So you can definitely go a creatureless route and not have to rely on kind of the weird creature mill stuff from Gatecrash.
Yeah. No, now that you mention it, I do like this. It will get you at least 5 life against normal decks, I think, if you're doing a mill strategy, which might just be enough to buy enough time.
You bring this in from the sideboard, or if the metagame is very heavy in creatures. But this basically shuts down any sort of aggro strategy if they are an aggro creature deck. If you mill 7 cards, most likely 50% of their deck is going to be creatures, so that's 3.5. Each one of your Mind Sculpts is going to net you 3.5 life, which is exactly what Mill wants.
Yeah, it's going to negate 1.5 creatures on the field, basically. So that's pretty insane. I like it. I think it's a very cool build around card. So Rogue's Gloves. Did you help design this one with the Rogue's Gloves?
You need to give them unblockable.
You may draw a card. Yeah, it needs to have them unblockable. That said, I mean, it is a pretty sweet effect.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
If you're a blue mage with flyers.
Yep, exactly. This can go in particular. I don't know how high I'd take this card. Lately, I've been undervaluing artifacts. I redid a Theros draft the other day, and I realized how insane the Chariot was. Yep. And it's just because I've been so conditioned with these past sets to have equipments be so bad in limited.
Yep, like Prowler's Helm is a good example of one that's more powerful than you think it is.
Yeah. Right? And so I need to retrain my mind to actually look at where this would come into play. And his card advantage, it's pretty good on it.
You're going to put it on your 1/1 Flying Death Touch Hornet for sure. Because
it hits one time, you've replaced the Rogue's Gloves. Hits twice, you're good to go.
Absolutely. And once you start burying them in, yep, I like it. I think it's quite nice. So what's some of our rare artifacts here? Scuttling Doom Engine, which I think wins my award for most awesome name in the set. The Scuttling Doom Engine.
Art.
And art, like that's so cool.
Like
so
a judo card.
It can't be blocked with creatures with power 2 or less. So it can't be chump blocked essentially with stupid stuff. And when it dies, it deals 6 damage to target opponent. Oh man.
You got this in Soul of Phyrexia. These are both really cool 6-drops.
Oh wow. A masterwork of spite, inspired by madness. I love it. And is that a hint actually for Cons of Tark here that the madness might be a thing that's coming back? Or Hellbent or whatever? That might be a thing.
I don't know.
Either way, it's a Scuttling Doom Engine, and I'm going to take every single one I can get because it looks really cool.
Then you should play Kaijudo because that's all the art is.
The Scuttling Doom Engine. Phyrexian Revoker.
Name of them too, literally.
Phyrexian Revoker. Is this one that's already seeing play in Modern?
Yes, it's in Death and Taxes in Modern.
Okay, so it enters the battlefield, you name it on the card, and then activated abilities of sources with the...
I've seen some affinity decks flirt with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2/1 for 2, so colorless. So it's a safe pick one, pack one take, but I don't think really you take it over something that's like a really strong uncommon.
Yeah, I think this card is pretty bad in limited as far as... I mean, it's a 2/1. It's going to be another Bronze Sable.
It's a great game 2, game 3 card.
It could, yeah. Yeah, if you know they've got something worth it that's... I mean, there seems to be a lot of activated abilities.
Yep. So each set has, you know, the color specific anthem guy that might be worth hitting, or like, I don't know, there's plenty of activated abilities in the set that you could hit with this. You wouldn't know what to name on turn 2 of game 1 though. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So it might end up being a sideboard card, or it might end up just being an easy to cast 2/1 for 2 in your deck. So I don't know. Look at the uncommons. Look at the uncommons. Grind Clock is one that I wish was an M14.
Really? I hate this card.
Yeah, really? I think
it's terrible.
It's very interesting.
This card is the definition of a terrible card.
Well,
it's too slow. I mean, I guess it's named Grind Clock for a reason.
Have you ever heard of the Fun Police? Because there's no such thing as too slow. you need
this
to
card's too slow.
As long as possible.
Your Fun Police, I guess what you did with yours is
everything is worse than Codex Shredder. Let's just get that out of the way right away. Codex Shredder is an amazing card. I love that.
You get a card back though to finish the game.
That's the whole point. You dick around with it until you need to get a card back, then you get a card back, and you just continue not losing until they give up. But
this one you have to put charge counters on it. So
yeah, it's actually pretty brutal. I almost prefer Millstone to this card, although it doesn't require any mana after you play it, so that's a bonus.
Yep.
So
I don't know. Every time I've tried to play this, in fact, back in whenever this one was last printed, I had like 2 or 3 of them in the same deck with a bunch of other mill cards, and this card, every time I saw it, even in a 40 card limited, it just could not get the job done. Usually when you play mill decks, you want to think of mill as like burn. Yep. You're going to try to mill your opponent as quickly as possible. And this card is so slow.
It doesn't do it. So let's compare it to what is it? Mill 7 for 2. So that does Mill 7 for 1 turn for 2 mana. How long does it take this one? You can do it in 8 turns, or you can do it in 2, 4, 6, 8, 5 turns, or you can do it in 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6. It's 5 is the optimal turns for this card. So it takes you 5 turns to do what you can do in 1 turn with the common.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I'm going to take it anyway because I'm that kind of guy who will play that kind of card. But we'll see how many games it makes me lose. When I could be playing an Obelisk of Erd. Convoke, 6 mana artifact. Enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2. So clearly you're going to name Dragon and then get that other enchantment that makes your dragons +3/+3. And then you're going to have like +5/+5 dragons and just win, right? Like that's just how the game works. So
I think people, again, you have to check around for decks that have already been broken with this. The Legacy, I've heard some Legacy buzz around this card.
really, damn, like in the set, it looks like if you're in red, you could name goblins, and you could convoke it out with goblins, and they would be like 3/3s and 4/4s, which would be busted. I'm not sure I've seen any other applications in this one. Slivers, maybe slivers in a
elves.
Constructed elves, maybe, but
Elf Ball actually might like this. Could replace the. I don't see it replacing Craterhoof though.
no, absolutely not. That's because it's trample. That's just so huge.
And you are going to be tapping your creatures elsewhere for.
This might be when you pick up like pack 3 as the rare. Once you know that you're like the goblin deck, or you've got 7 humans, or you've got like some other ridiculous number of the same creature type. But I don't think this is a pack 1 card at all.
Yeah, this you'd have to cross your fingers if you take this pack 1, pick 1.
Yeah.
I've done stupider things though.
Me too. Let's move on to Brawler's Plate, which is just a +2/+2 and trample.
Yeah, this is the equipment that I think I've been trained.
Yeah,
not
this
to
is
like equipment.
it costs too much, and then the equip is too much, and then the effect isn't big enough. So, it obviously, if your game goes long enough for it to matter, it will win the game for you. But it shouldn't go on that long. You should be playing like a 3/3 for 3, and then a 3/4 for 4, and just winning that way.
Now, if you equip this and Rogue's Gloves,
ooh,
you're a nice little Rogue Brawler that's.
But it looks
trampling
like
drawing cards.
It looks like it already comes with gloves, though. So I don't know. Are you gonna one each, draw half a card per turn, do like an unhinged thing? That'd be fun. Just tear your card in half and just draw it. Oh, Brim is. Damn it. Okay, wicked. Shield of the Avatar. 1 mana. That's important. If a source would deal damage to equipped creature, prevent X of that damage, where X is the number of creatures you control equipped to. This looks like a really cool card for the aggressive deck.
Yeah, and again, this is a nice little card in Casual Commander.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm sure there's some broken things you can do with it on putting it on like a card that they're like Goblin Kaboomist, for example.
Yes, this combos very well with Goblin Kaboomist. Very, very, very well.
Because then he's not going to die.
Even with him just himself, he doesn't die, right? So
yep.
Yeah, that's great. Just give the Kaboomist some armor. Why didn't we give the Kaboomist some armor in the first place? What horrible foresight we had. We should just do this every time.
It's a pretty powerful card. I like it.
There's a reson it's rare. Obviously, they play tested it and they saw it was cool. Hot Soup. This one was designed by the James Ernest, and I love the flavor of this soup. It's 1 mana, 3 to equip it. It can't be blocked, but if it's dealt damage, destroy it. So if it gets burned a lot, which I think is really cool.
It's got the coolest name ever.
Oh, Hot Soup? Come on, that's so cool. I love Hot Soup. Meteorite is a card that is pretty interesting to me. I think I would have played it a lot more if it said 3 damage in this set. But if you're playing your 3-color deck, it might be worth it, and it's sort of a removal spell. It's kind of not enough of either to do it for me.
Yeah, I'm total agreeance with you. It's 5 mana to, by that time, ramping is over.
Exactly. So you're not really ramping. It's color fixing. It's great color fixing, but expensive, and then 2 damage might just not be enough.
This is a slower format. I think this card would be a lot better, but this does seem very fast.
Yeah, people are going to get you with their 2/1s for 2 before you can cast this. And then by the time you cast it, the creature won't be relevant anyway, so that's fine. A card that I do like in this set, though, is Sentinel, or Gargoyle Sentinel. The 3/3 for 3 Defender that can get flying and lose Defender if you pay 3 for it. I think this is a pretty solid card in any deck. Really.
Yeah, this is one that will fill your, again, I say like 18 to 23.
Yeah, this will fill in the gaps in your deck for sure. It's a solid creature to block bears early, and then later, once you establish a board presence, it can be your 3/3 flyer evasive dude that just wins you the game.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan. I'm a large air mover about that card. Bronze Sable is Bronze Sable. It's 2-1 for 2. It's like your 23rd card for sure.
Yep.
Juggernaut. Juggernaut attacks each turn of Fable, and it cannot be blocked by walls. This is an old reprint, right?
Yep.
So
it's been around since the first of Magic, I believe.
Do you play this card for 4 just to destroy something with 3 power?
It's just very in aggressive decks. This card's great.
Oh, totally, it is.
Because it comes out as a 5 power early.
Yep.
And then walls, I guess, could sort of come into effect here.
Well, Wall of Frost is the only one that really blocks it. So
yeah. I mean, at least it doesn't die by Wall of Fire.
Exactly.
And Wall of Blossoms can't, or Wall of Mulch can't.
Oh, it gets around Hornet's Nest. No, that's not a wall. It's just Defender.
Nope, just Defender.
Okay. Well, it'd be way better if it was. If this card would be better if that card was a wall. But I think this is a completely legitimate pickup.
Oh yeah. Red decks will want it.
Yep. Ornithopter. An interesting reprint for Modern, I suppose. Has some synergies with a couple of other cards in the set, like that Blue Angel, the red removal spell.
The blue 5/5 spell.
I'm not sure if there's there's a lot of things where if you control an enchantment, they become a lot better.
Well, it makes a great target for Rogue's Glow. Never mind.
Did you see the Ornithopter? I think it was Ornithopter that Richard Garfield altered to be the Ornithopter Lord. He like scribbled it on with his pen and he's like signed it. He's like other Ornithopters get +1/+1. Oh, it's just other Thopter creatures get +1/+1. It was awesome. I have to find that picture later and save it because it's amazing. That should be a legal card.
Yeah.
In the thing, just because he signed it. Avarice Amulet, 4 mana equipment. Crypt creature gets +2/+0 and has Vigilance. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. Oh. When it dies, the opponent gains control of Avarice Amulet, equipped 2. Man, this is a high variance, high risk card, hey? Jeez.
I don't think the cost needed to be as high as it was for either the casting cost or the equip cost. I don't know, it's pretty steep even just to, as an equipment, that if an opponent didn't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's tough. It's
you can put it on some pretty cool cards that you don't think you're gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm gonna lose to this card. There's gonna be at least one game I lose to this card, because if you can't deal with it, it's just gonna get out of hand.
Yep, and there'll probably be a game you win because you steal this.
Exactly. So it's gonna go both ways. So I don't know. I take it, I guess, but it depends on what kind of deck I'm making, I suppose.
Yeah, I wouldn't first pick this.
No. And then we've got 4 staffs, 1 for each color. I know in M14, some of them, especially the blue one, was pretty appealing. I think the Sun Magus is the most appealing one in this one, just because of the Johnny Pridemate or Pridemate.
Yeah. There was something else that gained life. The Wall of
the black
one.
The black wall is a good combo. So
plus you're paying a lot of life in the black strategy for certain cards.
That's true. So it might be worth it to have it.
I usually don't play these.
I haven't played them in any draft.
Yeah, just the fact that you're going into 2 colors a lot of times makes it even weaker.
Yeah.
But Staff of Death Magus currently sees play in Standard, so.
Yeah, I don't know how legit that is. It's like against Burn, I think.
It's down for us Burn.
I've just been playing Phyrexia Cure instead, and it's been working out just fine for me.
Well, Phyrexia Cure sometimes doesn't have. It can get stuck in your hand. I mean, you can use it on your own stuff.
Yeah.
But Staff of Death Magus. Usually, you're gonna be getting 2 life per turn. But yeah, again, I'm with you. That maybe Grey Merchant, just relying on Grey Merchants a little bit.
I just rely on Grey Merchants and just have Phyrexia Cure as the removal spell. And because on 3 mana, you want to be heroes downfalling something or playing some kind of board presence. I don't know if you really want to be playing a staff that doesn't do anything for a turn. But anyways, this is a limited/set review, not a standard review. So let's just go ahead and talk about Sliverhive. Let's move on to the lands. Sliverhive, the card that should have come out in M14, in my opinion. Although it might have made the sliver thing in M14 too strong.
Nah.
But it is just a rare. So, I mean, you're not going to get it all the time. This is a card I'm not going to be super stoked about picking up early in the draft, but it is a card that I will play in any deck I get it for, pretty much. Just to have the option to put 1/1s on the battlefield for mana, I think that's pretty legit.
Yep.
And then the off chance you have your on-color sliver that affects them, that's pretty sweet too. Like if they get Death Touch, whew, that's huge. That is huge.
Yep.
But I know that Constructed Sliver players are going to be stoked about it.
Yep, I actually had a person come into our store and buy $30 worth of slivers.
Just because of this card?
Well, yeah. Well, every time slivers are printed, then someone wants to build a sliver deck. So
true. I think this plus Mana Confluence in Standard, plus having access to any other duel you want, essentially, means that you can play your sliver deck in Standard no problem now, and you can use any sliver you want at this point.
And you can dine a Bile all day long.
Yeah, awesome. So totally, I like it. I think it's a fine card. I'm gonna play it in limited every time I get it, just because having 1/1s as blockers is good.
It's a free way to put in tokens.
Yeah, exactly. Urborg
This isn't part of your 23. This is part of your optional
40.
lands.
Part of your 40. Yep. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other types.
I didn't see much things that affected swamp, if any. Just the card.
No. Corrupt is in M14. There's no Corrupt in this one.
Yeah. Kind of weird they put it in this set.
Yeah.
It needed a reprint. That's the only thing that...
I think they just wanted it for Modern. Yeah. Is it expensive in this current printing? Is it worth picking up just for money?
No, this should crash the price of Urborg. I mean, it was going for I think around $30 before this was reprinted. And this will crash it down to, I would even say this could go down to bulk rare prices.
Oh my.
Because it's just will have no implications in, well, it is a legendary land, so it's free. I still don't see, because this is what happens in a standard set that is going to be open a ton and doesn't have any playability in standard. Is I mean, look at even Scavenging Ooze going down to $6.
Yep.
Which is highly played in both Modern and Legacy, and sees a fair amount of play in Standard.
Yep.
And even that can't keep its price.
No.
So, people that, I mean, long term, we're talking 3-4 years. Sure, you can make a spec at this, but it's going to take forever to get your money back. This is going to continue to fall in price until the day it rotates from Standard.
Yeah. That's a fair assessment. As far as drafting it in this set, I don't remember anything important that required that you have swamps, except maybe the off-color guy that requires that you have a swamp to get +1/+1 in the ability. But then the green one.
It is a swamp itself, so it could have been a swamp.
True. Okay.
So I think the cool thing about it is it guarantees that double swamp. You know, a lot of those cards out of the black were double black.
Yep.
So you can have 5 mountains in this and still be able to cast all your black cards.
That's fair. You can cast your demon from your seeded pack.
Yeah. Yep.
Darksteel Citadel, there's not a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it's just indestructible. It's reprinted for Affinity, right?
Yeah, and there was a small theme again, Shrapnel Blast.
Yep. And the scissors.
The one that gets flying if you have an artifact.
Yeah, the 5/5 indestructible
5/5
dude.
Indestructible.
Yeah. So
hey, and then you can put the Avarice Amulet on it, and you don't have to worry about it.
They draw cards all the time. Wicked.
I'm sure it will happen more than you think.
No kidding. Evolving Wilds is just a pretty sweet fixer. I don't know what else to say about it.
I pick them in pack 3 usually. Pretty early if I'm in 3 colors. I pick them pretty late in 1 and 2.
Yeah. Do you take and play Radiant Fountains?
I love this card.
Really?
Absolutely love this card.
Okay. I get it with some of the interactions with gaining life in the set, but if I'm playing a 2-color deck, I want this to be the reason I'm mana screwed. So
true, but again, it will depend on your deck. If you have a card that costs 3 of a particular mana, or a lot of doubles, you probably don't necessarily want this.
Yeah.
But Glimmer Post saw a lot of play. I mean, yes, you could gain a lot more life if you had multiples. And I think there was one that just gained 1 life when it came into play, and it saw a lot of decent play in the limited format, just again because some decks just don't really need a lot of fixing.
That's fair. If this is easy, I mean, it's a high variance card. If you have an easy mana base, play it, because it might just win you a race, right?
Yeah.
But if you're judgment call, right?
Start the game. I mean, it's the opposite of a shock land. Start the game to help fix your deck at 18, and Radiant Fountain is start the game at 22, and kind of
ease into it. Ease into the game naturally. Perfect. So we've got our 5 reprints from, I think, when's the last time they printed these ones? M10 or something? The Battlefield Forge, Caves of Kolios, Land of War Wastes, Yevamaya Coast, and Chivian Reef. It was either like 10th edition or M10 or something like that.
I believe 10th. Yeah, 10th or 9th. Yeah, somewhere around there these were printed before. And these have all spiked up in value recently. I don't know if that's justified. If you have them, I say sell them right now because this is going to be a highly open set. Wizards tends to give away a lot of free packs from the core set. They're going to do a celebration day.
Yep.
It's rare. So since these have been reprinted, I believe this is the 4th reprinting. They're printed in Apocalypse and then in 2 core sets. So there's plenty of copies out there already. Yeah. We had them in our bulk bin for quite a while, and well, some of them they were a little bit above, like around $1 to $2 range, and then now with this just means more additional ones are going to be in circulation. Yep. They're good lands though, very good lands.
Oh yeah, definitely. My friends who have been playing since the '90s have gone out and said that they're glad they're printing these again because it feels like real Magic to them. Like this is a real dual land for them instead of like the check lands and stuff like that. Like this is how you fixed your mana base in the early 2000s.
Yeah, the Allied ones were Ice Age, so they've been around forever.
So I mean, these are exciting. I don't take them for the money, but take them if you want to fix your deck.
Yeah, I think these will continue to go. Right now some of them are like $9, and I think they'll just continue to drop as. I think M15 will be a very popular set. Open. There's a lot of money in it right now.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun
cool
too.
Cards, Planeswalkers.
Well, there's 6 Planeswalkers. That's crazy. Did we miss multicolored?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we got to talk about Garruk.
Where's multicolored? Is there just the one? Is it just Garruk?
Is Garruk the only multicolored card?
I don't know. I'm looking. I'm like, okay. So. This is creatures instance. I don't know if they have it listed. I'm just gonna order it by colors
here. It looks to me like Garruk is.
Oh no, there's no Sliver Hivelord too.
Oh, so yeah.
Okay, so Sliver Hivelord, it's Wooburg, 1 of each color, 5/5. It's indestructible because all of your Sliver creatures are indestructible. I don't think you take it in the draft, but I think it's a card that is going to become expensive over time.
What if you get 2 Sliver Hives and 2 Painlands and a couple Evolving Wilds?
Then I'm obviously playing it. Do you even know me? Gosh. If I get 1 Sliver Hive, I'm like, yup, playing it. I'm getting indestructible 1/1s. Screw you guys. I get to take the first 5 turns. No, I'm totally taking this. But seems pretty neat. I don't have much more to say about it. I'm not a huge Sliver fan. But it looks it looks like it'd be really fun for your Sliver deck. And I think the only other card we have left to talk about is Garruk Apex Predator, which is good. This is finishing with a bang. This is kind of Garruk's set. Like, this is the Garruk themed set. So 7 mana, black and a green for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker, has 4 abilities. Let's just go over them one by one. +1, destroy another target Planeswalker. EDH. So EDH. And I don't know, is this your answer to Elspeth? I don't really know if it is.
Yeah, you've already activated Elspeth and got value out of it.
Yep.
So what makes Elspeth so good is you have 3/1/1s if they deal with it.
Absolutely. His other +1 is a little bit underwhelming for me. It's just a 3/3 black beast creature token with Death Touch. It's not the worst.
Yeah,
it does what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a 3/3, so the Death Touch is becoming irrelevant at that point, and the 5 mana Garruk does that without Death Touch. So, I mean, I'm not too thrilled about that either. But maybe once you stack all of these abilities on him, he will be an amazing Planeswalker. -3, destroy target creature. You gain life equal to its toughness. This is the reason that I think you would play this Planeswalker, is because you have a +1 ability that protects your Planeswalker, and you have a minus ability that protects your Planeswalker. Well, not protects the Planeswalker, but it protects you. So,
yeah.
I mean, is it comparable to the other Garruk with just the non-ultimate abilities? I don't think so. Color of Beast, I think, stomps this card.
Yeah, and Primal Hunter was better than both of them, so...
Yeah. But let's just take a look at the ultimate. We might just get to save the ultimate, but I'm pretty sure the ultimate is like EDH central.
Yeah.
So target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a creature attacks you, it gets +5/+5 and gets trampled at the end of turn. This is, hey, screw you in particular. Remember at the start of the game when you killed my Sol Ring? Well, this is what you get.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
pretty much.
So, it does work just as well in a one-on-one match. It makes your mana dorks into 6/6 tramplers. And it will win you the game. But if you're playing a deck like that where you're ramping that hard and it takes you to 7 mana and then another 3 turns and then an activation and then you attack, that's a little excessive.
Yep.
So, other than that, man, Apex Predator, sick name.
I'll probably try to break him in like an unexpected result decks, but
unexpected. Well, Garruk Apex Predator would be very unexpected, from what I've seen.
Hell, I'll even throw in Rise of the Dark Realms in there.
Kill other stuff and then bring it back. That's a cruel move. You are a cruel brewer.
Put him in the, what is it? The one where you discard a card and they deal damage equal to its converted mana cost. That's always fun. But there's even bigger cards than that, like Wormcoil Engine and whatnot. But or World Spine
Worm, yeah, totally. Okay. Well, now I'm a little sad that it's all over now. It's just all over. We'll have to do this again for the next one.
Well, I think it's a great set.
Oh man,
I'm impressed with it.
Absolutely,
It looks very fun and limited.
This is so much more exciting than M14 was, and I think I was the only one that loved drafting M14.
See, I loved it too. It's been one of my favorite sets ever to draft.
You just get so much time to dick around and do cool archetypes.
It killed my rating, though. It absolutely killed my rating on MTGO because I wasn't going to play to win. I was going to play to have fun.
Exactly, and M14 was fun, but this one, it looks like you can have a bit of fun and play with some really powerful cards. Very
synergistic set. Extremely synergistic set.
Absolutely. Do you have your list of your top 10 cards handy?
Oh, I do.
We'll just rattle them off. You can check out all of the videos on the Roguedeckbuilder channel, which you're already on, obviously. But just if you want to rattle off the top 10, and we'll just that'll be our ending.
Yeah, these of course these are my top 10 cards of cards that I want to specifically brew around. So they're not power rated by power. They're rated by how much Kevin likes them.
Which is a worthy ranking system, in my opinion.
Yeah, everyone should rank like this. Number 10 is a Broodkeeper.
Yep.
I want to create a ton of 2/2 dragons. Who doesn't with fire breathing?
Oh, obviously.
Cards is begging to be broken. Number 9 is a Giant's Pridemate. This is just because of my love for Soul Sisters. That's why it's a number 9.
Yep.
Because I'm just glad to see a reprint. Number 8 was Profane Memento, just because, in my opinion, it is the missing piece for Mill. Mill's already good against slow decks. It struggles against fast decks. Crypt Incursion sometimes seems a little bit awkward when you want to be doing other things on turn 3. Turn 1's exactly when you want to drop Profane Memento, so big thumbs up to that card. Number 7 was Spirit Bond. Creating a spirit token after casting any creature seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, that's really good.
6 was Hornet's Nest, and now after brewing around it, I think I'd move that up. Number 5 was Kirkish Onak Ancient. I just think that, or Onaki, I guess is how you say that. However you pronounce that.
Is that the 4/3 guy, the activated ability?
He's just begging to be broken in some sort of casual format EDH.
Yep.
He might see modern play eventually. Again, this is a card, the more cards printed, the better it gets. So 6 years down the road, he might be a lot better than he is now.
Absolutely.
Number 4 is Generator Servant. I'm gonna break that card. I already have a few kind of elf ball decks. The Burning Tree Emissary, this window we have for a couple of months while this is legal, that is insane. Turn 2 Burning Tree Emissary into a Generator Servant.
Oh, with Nykthos Shrine and Nyx in the format still? Exactly. Yeah. They just like your you have so much mana. Just whatever you want to do with the mana, go for it.
Yep. And then number 3 is Chief Engineer. Again, that card is
Okay,
just
yeah, that's another one that gets better over time too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The more artifacts are printed, the more this card shines.
For sure.
Number 2 is Necromancer Stockpile. I like anything that makes, like, any engine that either sacks creatures or makes you discard cards. Traditionally, I've played more Rock, Reanimation, Dredge, kind of black-green.
Mm-hmm.
Black-green is probably my favorite strategy in Magic, and any card that helps me brew around that strategy gets mine out of approval. And everyone knows my love for Immortal Servitude.
Yes.
So the best replacement for Immortal Servitude will definitely be Return to the Ranks.
Yep.
Which in some ways it's better, some ways it's worse. I think that 6s, they each have their implications.
Okay.
But again, I'll have deck text for all of them. We're up to number 5 right now. So tomorrow will be, this video might come after, but as of we're talking right now, I've got the top 5 up there. And then also I'll be doing a few videos with the top 5 underrated and top 5 most impactful. I guess I'll just spew off those lists real quick. Like the top 5 most impactful, these are as far as what, again, not quite on power level, just I think will fit right now in standard. Number 5 is Jace. I think Jace, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if the control players like it better than Architect of Thought, but they definitely have their upsides. Like this one, bouncing, I think bouncing is more powerful against certain decks than setting up your hand.
I think bouncing, because it's this -3 is more analogous to the plus ability of Architect of Thought. It's protecting the Planeswalker and you. So against a bomby deck where it's like I'm dropping my one huge creature, so this will put the demon back in their hand.
Yeah.
Where the Jace will just make it a 5/6, which is irrelevant. But against aggro-y decks, Architect of Thought just halves each creature. It's just like, yep, 1 damage each. Good luck. So
yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. I think it will be impactful. I think people will use it, especially after rotation. I can see this card being a lot better when the other Jace gets out. Number 4, I have 2 cards in the slot because they both do relatively the same thing. It's Reclamation Sage and Back to Nature. These are both of these are going to screw up Theros cards indefinitely.
Yep.
Every deck right now in Standard has an enchantment. Well, just about every deck.
Every
in
important deck
has
an enchantment. Yeah.
So even if it's like just mono black that has Whip of Erebos or Underworld Connections, they still have an
Brain
enchantment.
Maggot too.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, you're gonna nail him with something.
Number 3, I do think Court of Calling will see significant play because it is anything that can tutor, that can find you the answer, that can wiggle yourself out of a bad situation, sees play in Standard.
Especially with Nykthos trying to Nyx. I think Nykthos is really going to drive our next Standard, at least for the first bit of it. If we get in cons, if we get some correctly colored permanents, we're definitely going to see Nykthos decks again.
Oh yeah, the only thing that was missing, the only reason Block didn't see Mono Blue Devotion is there really wasn't a lot of the double blue was terrible.
Yes. No, he's just completely irrelevant. He's like a 2/1 for 2.
And there was no double 3 like that we have in Standard, but you don't really need a double 3. You have Dictated Crewfix, which works pretty good as a double blue in 1 and flash draw cards. I think that's exactly what Mono Blue wants to do.
Exactly.
Because Mono Blue can be sort of grindy. They're not trying to win. They're not trying to do incremental damage, 1, 2, 3, 4. What they're trying to, they can do that.
They can.
But what they're really trying to do is a huge swing with Thassa or a huge swing with a Master of Waves.
Exactly.
So drawing more cards to get you that huge swing is exactly what they want. Anyway, number 2 is Sign in Blood.
Yep.
The missing piece to make mono black aggro a legitimate deck if it isn't already a legitimate deck. And number 1, I think Waste Not is too versatile and too powerful not to see play in Standard, and I definitely think that even mono black might want it. Again, they'll have to go maybe black red with Rakdos' Return, or at that point you can go into a lot of other cards. Maybe even Liliana Vest can see play with Waste Not.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
But I think Waste Not is very powerful, and I think Modern will be shaken up by it. As far as underrated or overlooked that I think people need to take a second look at is Aether Spouts. That returning all attacking creatures to the top or bottom of the library. That's huge. That's removal. It's removing them all.
That is huge removal. I think this card is. I haven't heard anyone talking about it, and I think you're correct that this is going to at least remove 2 creatures from the game.
I think the green-blue creature decks, the ones that want to cure and then go over the top, will want this card, as well as it's. I think will definitely replace the. Now I can't think of the card. The 2 mana, but it's got the overload. Cyclonic Rift.
I feel like this card is best served in creature-less decks. So if you've got something to block with, they're not going to attack with the things that are not favorable to attack with. But if they attack with everything, it's like whoosh, goodbye. So if you do like a Architect of Thought +1ing and then doing this, it's just like you can survive that one more turn and then play this and just devastate them.
Yeah, again, it's one of those cards that just punishes decks that just want to spew out all creatures and.
Exactly.
Yeah. Number 4 is Altic Bloodseeker. A 3. It basically is going to be a 3/2 for 2. I think people are. Or which one? Is that the one they destroy a creature? Maybe I'm actually reading. When I wrote this list, I was looking through them. But either one, the one that's a 3/2 for 2. That's what it is.
Oh, when it attacks, it becomes a 3/2. Is that the one you're talking about?
Let me look. Let me see which one this one is. This might be the one that's destroying when you destroy a creature, because
whenever a creature an opponent controlled dies, it gets +2/+. First strike haste.
So it's a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4/1 first strike.
Or yeah, a 4/1. There we go. It's a 2/1 naturally. Yep. This one is so perfect in a red deck where you can just magma spray something. Hey, this is a tempo card. It's something that you drop down and then you're removing their creatures. So either a black-red deck or just even a mono-red deck.
Yep.
That's a very fast clock.
You get to capitalize.
Four. And then late game, of course, you have a shock in your hand and this in your hand, and they have something you can actually kill, like an Elvish Mystic. That's still, you shock it, throw this out, 3 mana for a 4/1 first striker haste. That's not too shabby.
Yep. That's
so I think
sick.
This red deck with, I guess I could put both those cards in the same category. Also the 3/2 when it attacks the Borderland Marauder.
Yep.
Is basically guaranteeing that the kind of, what do they call it, Sly or Boss Red? What do they call it, Boss Sly? Or Red Blitz? Where they're using creatures and then kind of blitzing with red creatures and then trying to remove the other person's creatures or make them so they can't block. That strategy is still very alive after rotation, after you lose like Legion Loyalists and Madcap skills and whatnot. It's still very alive. And then number 3 is Helios Pilgrim. Anytime that there's a tutor for that low, even though it only gets auras, I think there's plenty of auras, and next set it'll have more auras. I think Ravnica actually, it does have Unflinching Courage in Ravnica block, but the rest and Ethereal Armor. So you are losing some big auras, but I think
totally are.
You still have plenty with an aura-based theme in Theros, and then the next set, whatever auras come, 3 mana for a 1/2 body that goes and gets an aura. Not bad. I love it in limited, just for the fact I can go get Stab Wound in a black-white strategy.
No, if you're playing Stab Wound, you're playing this card.
Yeah,
100%.
And even if you only have one of each, I think it's still worth it too.
No, totally, because if you can get Stab Wound with this card, that's a huge boost for you. Huge boost. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
Number 2 is Life's Legacy. Sacking a creature, I think, to draw a ton of cards is huge, even though it's not instant speed. But 2 mana is very, very doable. I think we've seen cards like this before. Most of the cards actually we've seen in green before, they had to connect to draw cards. So it was like attacking creature deals damage this turn, you get X amount of cards or whatever. Yep. But this one's just like, meh, I'll put out my card that probably got me value, and I'll sack it now. Oh. Or again, if it wants to be in the graveyard, I'm thinking like sort of a dredge deck might want this.
That's what I was thinking before. I was like, do you play your demon, kill a creature early, and then and
then kill it. It's gonna die.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
get more stuff.
Maybe it's tough to say, but in limited, this is just green drawing spells is crazy. Like green
I like
drawing
it with
cards.
Underworld. Yeah, Underworld Cerberus is pretty cool too.
Yep. So if you can, even if you're just using 2 mana to draw 2 spells off of a bear that's irrelevant now, totally worth it. 100% worth it.
Yep, exactly. And then number 1 is Avacyn. I think people have completely underrated this card. It does too much.
It's a very solid card, and it could be the answer to our future problems too, which is another thing for me. So
you gotta think about Olivia. Olivia was when Olivia spoiled, everyone was like, "This card's the greatest card ever," and then it saw 0 play.
Yeah.
Because the format didn't care about stealing creatures, it didn't care about protecting one big creature. It was a very tempo-based deck where you had a zombies deck that, if you think aggro is aggro now, you should have been in the Scars of Mirrodin and Innistrad days.
It's dirty.
Where zombies was just, I'm going to kill you turn 3, turn 4, you are dead. Turn 3, you're still option. They could kill on turn 3 pretty easily.
Exactly.
And Infect as well. Infect could have some. They could have, I believe, a God Draw on turn 2 with first turn Glistener Elf, second turn like mutagenic growth, and a pump spell.
I've seen standard decks from those times beat out modern decks.
Yeah.
Because they're just, sometimes you just beat them because they don't have the right cards.
Well, and Delver still kind of works that way. In fact, I would say that Delver in that time period might be stronger than most modern decks because 2 of the cards that people use at that time period are banned in Modern.
Ponder and
to set up Delver.
Ponder and what?
And Mental Misstep even. So even more of those cards are actually banned.
Yeah.
So during Standard you had Mental Misstep, you had Vapor Snag, and you had Ponder, which is banned, and Mental Misstep. So you're basically guaranteeing that Mr. Delver is going to A, stay alive, and B, flip.
Yep.
And then everything else in the deck was to bounce. So Olivia came out, whoop-de-doo, bounce it back to your hand and you lose a life. Or it's just going to get counterspelled. Or, so it was a very... And then as soon as those cards rotated, though, all of a sudden Olivia became this powerhouse that it became in a mid-range strategy where Restoration Angels and Thragtusks and all these cards that got a lot of value, again, this mid-range strategy, and now you're taking people's Thragtusks, now you're taking the Restoration Angels, now you're just completely locking out the game with this 4/4 flyer that
becomes a 10/10 flyer that steals things. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So going back to Avacyn, I don't think that Avacyn is going to be the card that you play pre-rotation. I think this is the card that is your answer to Prognostic Sphinx, and just really helps you because it's a 5/4 is super relevant against that card. So that could be your answer in the air to Prognostic Sphinx, and it doesn't die to its 3 power. So that's the main card I see working around. I'm sure there's plenty more, like Mizian Mortars is leaving the format. That's very relevant to Avacyn. There's just, and War Leader's Helix is leaving, which is relevant to Avacyn. So I think this card just gets so much better after rotation that it's...
Yep, still got Stormbreath Dragon, but again, I'm not saying like Avacyn's this like powerhouse. It's just overlooked. Like what I've heard on forums and just chatting around is people like, "Oh, it's so bad." I mean, they're complaining about Avacyn, and when I look at it, I just see value. I don't see a terrible card. I see something that's actually playable.
Yeah.
So
I completely agree. And if you're playing a low removal deck, like if you're playing a deck that has a hard time removing Avacyn, its second ability just wins you the game. Sources of the Color, yeah. So you just end up winning the game because of it. So it's just such a solid card. I think you're completely correct having it as like your top, not talked about card.
Yep.
Wicked.
But yeah, interested in your guys' lists. Hope you enjoyed this. If you're still stuck with us through all our ramblings.
Yeah, if you're still
I think we
here.
did a pretty good job of both Cory and I are pretty experienced players, and the good thing about when we mesh our 2 personalities is we get definite 2 different outlooks on cards. One for more of a Spike version, one for more of a Johnny version. So
yeah,
hope this will help you guys with your pre-release and then of course the drafting later on.
Absolutely. And
so what color are you going, Cory?
Oh well, if my store is pre-registering on FNM and I might not make it to FNM, so if I can't play black, I think I'm playing green. But black is my number 1 choice. I think it should be everyone's number 1 choice. But
I'm with you. I'm gonna go black, and then I think my second choice will be red. I probably end up having to play blue because no one will.
Yeah, no, actually, red and green are both very close for me. Second choice, just because
red is just so consistent with its the power level of its commons and uncommons.
Yeah, I agree.
Are pretty sweet. Power level of its rares, probably not as good as the other colors. And of course, its mythics are bomby, but what mythics aren't?
Exactly.
But I mean, there's a lot of dead rares in red.
There's like 3 or 4 or 5 burn spells in red. It's just crazy. You get Lightning Strike, which is amazing, and then you get another 2 that are still very playable, and then you get like Lava Axe and a couple other.
You get all these 3/2s for 2s as well.
Exactly. So just the consistency of red could be a thing. I think I'm still gonna play green. Just like the inner Timmy in me just wants to play green so badly, and I love green in limited just because the dudes are bigger than everyone else's. But man, it really depends. If I can play black, I will play black. That's just what I gotta say.
Yeah, same here. And even if my black pool is terrible, I hope I just get a few Evolving Wilds to splash it. Because I think even if it's double black, I still think splashing that card is insanely powerful. Absolutely.
Well, we're just over an hour now, so we might as well wrap it up so that the one person who's still watching can go to bed. And so that's... thank you very much, Kevin, for letting me be a part of your set review. And thank you very much for watching, one person. I don't know. Should we do a competition for like the one person who's watching, like type something secret into the comments and they get like a sweet prize. So what do they have to type in the comment? They have to type...
spoil the new name or no?
Yeah, I think so. Type Shatterpaws. Like shatter pause, not like pause, like not play. Shatterpaws. Type Shatterpaws in the comments and we'll figure something out to make your experience higher than normal. And
I've got some playmats. I've got
wicked. So
give a random person playmat.
If you tell anyone, you're not gonna be able to win. So I want to make this a secret. I don't care about view number. This is just for you, one person. One dedicated fan. Anyways, that's me. I'm Cory. Thank you very much, Kevin. And thank you much, one guy. And I will see you guys next time.